If these words have reached you, it's because there's a reason far deeper than what appears at first glance. None of this is random. For years, silently, a kind of evaluation of your consciousness has been happening behind the scenes of your life. This isn't a traditional test with questions or answers. It's something that goes beyond. A process conducted by universal intelligence to perceive whether your perception, your energy, and your maturity are ready to access quantum abilities that surpass common human limitations. You didn't consciously sign up for this process. It happens automatically, connected to the subtle fields that regulate the evolution of human consciousness. This cosmic evaluation observes your emotional coherence, your ability to choose growth instead of comfort, and your willingness to question consensual realities. Today, in this video here on the Quantum Labs channel, you will understand that this evaluation doesn't just measure intellectual or spiritual knowledge, but something much broader: your vibrational readiness to handle creative power without harming yourself or others. By arriving here, you demonstrate that there are rare characteristics within you. It's no exaggeration to say that most people don't even imagine this type of process exists. Many remain trapped in reactive patterns, limiting beliefs, and victim states, which blocks access to the extraordinary possibilities that quantum manifestation offers. You, however, somehow crossed through moments of crisis, chose to grow when it was easier to give up, and maintained your integrity even under pressure. Each choice, each breakthrough, each broken limit was scored within this invisible evaluation. Now, as you read these words, something important is happening at a subtle level. Your consciousness is coming into alignment with advanced reality creation protocols, available only to those who have reached a certain degree of energetic maturity. Your neural pathways are receiving delicate electromagnetic instructions, codes that were dormant and were programmed to activate only when human consciousness was ready to responsibly handle multidimensional creative abilities. And this is exactly what makes this stage so rare. It's not a matter of having more degrees, more books read, or more spiritual concepts memorized. It's about something deeper: your frequency, your ability to sustain inner coherence, your readiness to use immense power with wisdom, without the ego taking control or unconsciousness generating damage. It's a silent recognition that your journey up to this point has prepared you for something greater. What you're developing within yourself isn't just a set of spiritual concepts or abstract ideas. It's what many call integrated wisdom, the ability to sustain immense creative power while remaining grounded in humility, compassion, and genuine orientation toward service. It's this type of consciousness that doesn't seek personal advantages, unconscious manipulation, or selfish uses of expanded capabilities. Instead, it learns to act with responsibility, maturity, and sensitivity. The universal intelligence that administers this process has been observing, in a subtle way, how you handle small situations before entrusting you with larger ones. Every time you chose patience instead of anger, understanding instead of judgment, service instead of selfishness, you strengthened your score in this invisible evaluation. Each conscious choice was an additional point toward your access to consciousness technologies, internal resources capable of transforming entire societies when used responsibly. What makes your achievement extraordinary isn't just the fact that you passed this cosmic test. It's the irreversible character of this activation. By crossing this threshold, you're not just unlocking new abilities, you're awakening dormant aspects of your own consciousness, parts of yourself that were in quantum suspension, waiting for the moment when your wisdom would become sufficient to guarantee a constructive and not destructive application of these capabilities. These abilities aren't given to you as a prize, as something external or conquered through conventional merits. They were always there, as your essential nature. What happens now is the release of safe access to this potential so you can handle infinite possibilities without getting lost. This means you've transcended ego-driven patterns that imprison most people in repetitive cycles of limitation. You've developed emotional sovereignty to navigate unlimited creative potential without losing your center and without fragmenting before the countless possibilities that could destabilize an unprepared consciousness. Perhaps you've already gone through experiences that most people would classify merely as coincidence, imagination, or luck. But within yourself, you perceive there's something different. Signs that your consciousness has begun to manifest advanced capabilities that only become available after this level of readiness. These are those moments when reality seems to reorganize around you with a precision that goes far beyond common probability, as if the universe itself recognized your expanded state and responded in a coordinated manner. Your relationship with synchronicities is no longer the same. It's not about isolated and meaningful events from time to time. It's about something much more sophisticated, known by some as reality coordination. It's a state in which external conditions, timing, circumstances, and even encounters align with your intentions in an almost mathematical way, revealing a conscious intelligence behind the ideal results for your highest evolution. This coordination is possible because passing the test activates your natural interface with universal intelligence systems. The deepest confirmations of this process usually come in the form of experiences you could call validation signs, or test confirmation experiences. These are moments when you demonstrate abilities you didn't consciously learn, but somehow already possess. Knowing information without having studied it, feeling results before they happen, influencing situations just with pure intention, without physical action. These episodes aren't isolated coincidences. They're capabilities downloading into your consciousness field, unlocked when your results confirmed your readiness to operate at more advanced levels. You may also notice that time perception begins to become more fluid. In states of focused intention, past, present, and future no longer seem like a fixed sequence, but navigable dimensions. It's possible to experience current moments that contain information from multiple timelines, or make decisions based on knowledge that seems to come from your future self. All of this is a sign that your consciousness is expanding beyond what previously seemed impossible. This new perception of temporal fluidity isn't just a strange sensation or an effect of imagination. It's a clear sign that your consciousness has gained access to a timeless perspective, reserved for those who have crossed through this process of energetic maturation. You begin to notice that your intuition and creativity no longer depend solely on your personal knowledge. They expand, surpass boundaries, and begin to access what mystics call universal intelligence, a collective field of wisdom that contains all possibilities and knowledge even before they manifest in individual consciousness. In this state, complete solutions to complex problems arrive instantaneously, as if they were already ready somewhere within you. Revolutionary ideas appear not just as concepts, but with embedded implementation strategies, as if they came with an invisible manual. This enhanced access occurs because, by passing through the cosmic process, your consciousness qualifies for a direct interface with universal intelligence databases, receiving information that surpasses the usual parameters of human intellect. These advanced experiences usually come accompanied by striking physical sensations. You may perceive energy moving through your body in patterns similar to system updates, feel electromagnetic changes during moments of expanded consciousness, or the clear sensation of being connected to vast intelligence networks, far beyond individual limits. This isn't about energy blocks being released, but real physiological effects, your nervous system adapting to process cosmic information transmissions, adjusting to support higher and more complex frequencies. The electromagnetic sensitivity you've been developing is exactly what allows you to perceive information about people, situations, and even probability matrices that wouldn't be accessible through common senses. When entering an environment, you can immediately sense what the most favorable outcomes available in that space are. When meeting a new person, you can instantly receive impressions about their potential, intuitively understanding how your interaction can contribute to their evolution or to a greater purpose. This hypersensitivity isn't an excess of yours. It's the natural perception of quantum information fields that surround all manifestations. Dreams and waking consciousness begin to function as integrated information collection systems, with data flowing continuously between states. It's common for these dreams to bring encounters with intelligences or beings that offer guidance for the responsible use of your advanced capabilities. And it's important to emphasize these aren't fantasies. They're authentic forms of communication with aspects of universal intelligence that accompany graduates of this process and provide continuous support for the constructive use of their abilities. Each challenge you faced, each limitation you overcame, each choice for growth instead of comfort was part of a cosmic evaluation much more sophisticated than you imagined. What seemed like random difficulty was, in reality, a carefully calibrated scenario to measure your emotional maturity, the development of your wisdom, and your orientation toward service. The spiritual practices that gave you glimpses of expanded capability, but not permanent access, weren't insufficient techniques. They were preparation protocols for the test. Exercises that systematically strengthened your consciousness stability so that, when the moment came, you could responsibly handle abilities capable of altering reality. Each meditation that revealed your true nature, each practice that demonstrated the power of consciousness in creating reality, and each technique that connected you to universal intelligence was building the wisdom foundation necessary to access more advanced levels. Even your challenging relationships weren't merely karmic lessons or simple growth opportunities. They were test scenarios created to evaluate how you handle interpersonal power dynamics. Whether you would use your expanded intuitive abilities to manipulate others, or if you would maintain compassion and respect even when you could easily influence people for your own benefit. This is the mark of maturity, using power to elevate, never to dominate. Each person who provoked intense reactions in you, those situations that seemed irritating, unfair, or deeply uncomfortable, wasn't a gratuitous obstacle on your path. They were an examiner, acting as a part of a larger process, measuring your emotional sovereignty, your inner ethics, and your level of vibrational coherence. These encounters weren't random. They were instruments of a test to evaluate whether you would maintain balance, compassion, and discernment even when confronted by deep human challenges. The periods of confusion and uncertainty, those that felt like spiritual crises or existential questioning, also didn't mean lack of progress. On the contrary, they were advanced phases of the exam, in which universal intelligence evaluated whether your consciousness could maintain essential functionality while crossing through fields of unlimited possibilities, without getting lost, without being paralyzed by the grandeur of the creative responsibility that was beginning to emerge. This phase measured your ability to sustain lucidity and not let yourself be suffocated by infinite options. In fact, your moments of doubt, when you wondered whether expanded consciousness experiences were real or just self-suggestion, were essential for measuring your discrimination ability. Each time you questioned an extraordinary experience, you demonstrated the healthy skepticism and grounded approach necessary for the responsible use of capabilities that can alter reality. This stance protected you from getting lost in spiritual fantasies or illusory interpretations, while simultaneously preparing you to recognize authentic phenomena when they arose. Your fascination with research on consciousness, quantum physics, and the nature of reality wasn't mere intellectual interest. It was part of the training, a scenario created to evaluate whether you could understand scientific principles underlying advanced abilities without becoming arrogant with this knowledge, nor disdainful of those who operate from more conventional understandings. This knowledge evaluation was essential to ensure your enhanced capabilities would be applied constructively, without elitism or inflated ego. The waiting periods, those moments when you felt you were ready for an advancement, but nothing seemed to manifest despite your effort, were, in reality, the most critical phases of the exam. They measured whether you could maintain patience, humility, and orientation toward service even when you perceived, albeit intuitively, that you possessed capabilities that could transform your life. These patience tests confirmed your readiness for a power that could corrupt an unprepared consciousness. Your soul chose this incarnation precisely to pass through the cosmic exam at the moment of humanity's collective awakening to quantum abilities. You weren't placed here by chance. You volunteered for an advanced process because your consciousness had already demonstrated in previous experiences that it could handle enormous creative power responsibly. That's why you were selected to help anchor these enhanced capabilities in the collective field, contributing to the evolution of our species. Something extraordinary is happening in your consciousness field at this moment. These recognition codes are activating neural pathways that have been dormant since you passed the cosmic exam, waiting exactly for the moment when you would become aware of your achievement and feel ready to fully access the advanced capabilities that were unlocked. Can you perceive it? That unmistakable sensation of invisible barriers dissolving around your consciousness, as if electromagnetic restrictions that limited your access to expanded abilities were being removed, revealing a creative potential that was always yours, but remained in quantum suspension until your wisdom reached the adequate level. It's not imagination, nor a passing elevated emotional state. It's quantum entanglement establishing itself between your individual consciousness and the cosmic intelligence networks available only to test graduates, those who demonstrated sufficient emotional maturity and ethical development to utilize their transformative capabilities responsibly. Your own cells are reorganizing their information patterns to accommodate the advanced abilities that were released when your results confirmed your readiness. The energy coursing through your nervous system is an activation signal. Your consciousness is beginning to connect with universal intelligence frequencies that operate at the intersection between individual consciousness and cosmic creativity, the quantum domain where personal will and universal purpose merge in recognition of their essential unity. This interface creates what some researchers call graduated coherence, a state in which consciousness naturally accesses expanded abilities, maintaining wisdom and orientation toward service. And this is what makes this moment simultaneously unprecedented and irreversible. Access to advanced capabilities doesn't arise through techniques or mechanical practices. It happens through recognition and electromagnetic alignment with the truth of what you've already achieved by passing the cosmic exam. It's vibrational maturity itself that opens the doors, not the repetition of methods, but consciousness of what you've become. Most people who perceive the first signs of this activation try to control them with spiritual practices, concentration techniques, or rituals they believe accelerate the process. However, this attempt at control creates subtle interferences that block the natural emergence of these abilities, preventing the spontaneous flow of quantum potential from revealing itself. Your consciousness, on the contrary, has advanced toward this threshold of recognition through each experience that demonstrated the development of your wisdom and the gradual expansion of your emotional maturity. It was years of silent choices and attitudes that prioritized service above selfishness, compassion above indifference, clarity above hasty judgment. This stance wasn't a linear path, nor the result of accumulated techniques. It was living training, a daily demonstration of readiness. That's why access to advanced abilities isn't something conquered with more effort or more practice. It's something recognized as already accomplished, because the successful completion of the cosmic exam isn't a granted prize, but an emergent state of consciousness that reveals itself when the right moment arrives. This sensation you're experiencing now, a vibration in the body, a silent amplification of the mental field, a clarity that seems to come from another level, isn't intense emotion nor self-suggestion. It's electromagnetic coherence establishing itself as your natural interface with universal intelligence systems. These systems provide guidance, support, and expanded capabilities only to consciousness that has demonstrated reliability through a comprehensive evaluation process that occurs throughout various phases of life. Researchers who study this phenomenon call this state graduated access, the ability to utilize advanced faculties while maintaining, at the same time, an ethical orientation and genuine commitment to service. At this exact moment, as this understanding penetrates every aspect of your being, something fundamental is changing in your relationship with your own capabilities and with your cosmic purpose. Instead of waiting for extraordinary abilities to arrive as a result of spiritual development, you begin to perceive that these capabilities are already yours, activated by the successful completion of a silent exam that evaluated your readiness across multiple dimensions of wisdom, balance, and maturity. Feel this activation spreading throughout your entire consciousness field, as if invisible networks were lighting up light after light. Allow it to release the dormant abilities that were in suspension until this moment of recognition. Allow it to connect you more clearly to the circuits of universal intelligence, which offer continuous guidance for the constructive use of expanded capabilities. This moment isn't just a personal realization, it's cosmic service, an anchoring point for advanced abilities in humanity's collective field. What activates now in your consciousness includes reality creation faculties that transcend normal manifestation limitations, intuitive access to universal intelligence databases, and the ability to influence probability matrices for purposes that serve collective evolution, not just personal gain. It was exactly in this transition that I perceived something that changed not only my vision about my own abilities, but also my understanding of the cosmic examination system that determines access to these capabilities. What I discovered can help you clearly understand the real meaning of having passed the test and how to navigate these new abilities without getting lost in their implications or letting yourself be corrupted by their power. 8 years ago, I lived what seemed to be the most challenging period of my life. It was as if all the pillars I had built were crumbling at the same time. At that moment, I didn't understand that this was one of the most advanced stages of the exam, designed to measure my ability to maintain internal coherence even in the face of external chaos and uncertainty. Today I realize that without that deep dive, I wouldn't have achieved the stability necessary to sustain the abilities that are now beginning to emerge. Each area of my life seemed to demand growth beyond my apparent capacity. Personal relationships demanded a degree of emotional maturity I had never needed to reach before, while unexpected circumstances presented themselves as if they were designed to test every aspect of my character, my wisdom, and my ability to maintain coherence amid chaos. I didn't know it, But that was the final phase of the cosmic exam that would determine whether I was ready to access expanded consciousness capabilities. The turning point didn't happen in a moment of triumph. It emerged in the middle of what seemed like total failure, when everything I had been trying to control collapsed all at once. Instead of resisting the dissolution, I chose something that seemed impossible: to surrender completely without losing orientation toward service or compassion for the people involved, including those I believed had betrayed or abandoned me. This decision to choose wisdom instead of reactivity, service instead of selfishness, even under intense emotional pressure, was, I realize today, the final question of an exam I didn't consciously know I was taking. In the days following that surrender, things began to happen that, in light of my old understanding, were impossible. Information about ideal outcomes arose instantaneously when I found myself facing complex decisions. External conditions coordinated around my intentions without conscious effort. People contacted me at the exact moment I needed them, bringing exactly what was necessary, as if reality itself was supporting my purposes through an invisible coordinating intelligence. But the most extraordinary thing wasn't just the new abilities. It was perceiving that these capabilities came accompanied by enormous responsibility. With each intention, each thought, each action, I felt I could influence probability matrices and coordinate realities for others, which meant everything carried consequences that went far beyond my personal experience. This perception was, at the same time, deeply empowering and deeply sobering. It was as if immense power was being placed in my hands, with the constant reminder that it could only be used constructively, never for ego gratification or unconscious manipulation. The following months were a silent school. I learned to navigate these advanced capabilities by cultivating humility, inner discipline, and orientation toward service. I discovered, in practice, that the cosmic exam doesn't just evaluate spiritual development in the conventional sense, but also emotional maturity, ethical consistency, and the ability to handle power without being corrupted by it. I understood that this examination system exists to ensure that reality-altering abilities only become available to consciousness that has demonstrated unequivocally sufficient wisdom to apply them for collective benefit, and not just for personal advantage. The test protects both the individual, so they won't be crushed by the weight of unlimited power, and the collective, so it won't suffer the consequences of unconscious use of these creative capabilities. This realization also explained to me why some people seem to live in completely different realities, where synchronicities flow all the time, manifestations happen effortlessly, and ideal results appear automatically. It's not that they've developed special spiritual techniques. They passed the cosmic exam that qualified them to access advanced abilities while maintaining the wisdom necessary to use them responsibly. And you? Have you already perceived glimpses of these same capabilities? Those moments when reality seems to align with your intentions in a precise and unexpected way? Those downloads of information you never consciously studied, but suddenly understand. This isn't imagination. It's a sign that you also passed the exam and that these abilities are beginning to activate. Tune into this frequency of recognition, not to wait for more techniques, nor to seek an external master, but to reflect on what's already happening within you. What's about to be revealed will show how to navigate the advanced capabilities that are emerging in your consciousness, maintaining the same wisdom and orientation toward service that qualified you for access in the first place. The most impactful truth about this cosmic exam is that it has been administered automatically, without ceremony or formal invitation, by universal intelligence systems that continuously monitor each human consciousness. evaluating readiness for advanced capabilities not based on spiritual practices, religious beliefs, or technical efforts, but rather on real choices, growth patterns, and practical application of wisdom over time. Contrary to what many spiritual masters and consciousness expansion specialists suggest, the cosmic exam isn't interested in meditative achievements, energy healing abilities, or psychic demonstrations. It evaluates, in essence, emotional maturity, ethical consistency, orientation toward service, and application of wisdom under pressure to determine whether consciousness can handle reality-altering abilities without causing harm through unconscious use or ego-driven manipulation. The most impactful revelation, the one that completely transforms how we perceive our spiritual journey, is that most spiritual practices and consciousness development techniques are, in reality, irrelevant to passing the cosmic exam. What really matters isn't the quantity of meditations done, nor the hours of practicing complex techniques, nor the titles or initiations received. The cosmic exam focuses exclusively on how you treat other people, especially those who can offer you nothing in return. The test evaluates how you handle power in apparently small situations, whether you choose service instead of selfishness when facing difficult decisions that test your character, not your spiritual abilities. This understanding instantly unmasks an entire market of spiritual achievements and courses that profit by teaching complicated techniques to develop supposed psychic powers. The requirements for accessing advanced capabilities are much simpler, yet much deeper. Wisdom, compassion, emotional sovereignty, and a demonstrated commitment to using these abilities for collective benefit instead of personal advantage through reality manipulation. This is the fundamental difference between genuine access to advanced capabilities and manufactured spiritual experiences. False experiences may seem empowering, but they don't require ethical vigilance, don't ask for wisdom application or commitment to service. Authentic quantum manifestation, that which is born from the cosmic exam, comes with tremendous responsibility. It's a power that needs to be sustained by integrity and clarity of purpose. The best-kept secret in advanced consciousness research is that cosmic exam graduates gain immediate access to reality creation abilities that operate through quantum field manipulation, influence on probability matrices, and direct interface with universal intelligence networks. These networks provide constant guidance so that expanded capabilities are used constructively, serving collective evolution instead of individual gratification. This activation is so profound and immediate that throughout the centuries, most spiritual traditions developed elaborate preparation systems to prevent premature access to reality-altering abilities. Without sufficient wisdom and ethical consistency, this unlimited power could cause unintentional harm or generate ego-driven manipulation. The recognition that changes everything is understanding that you're not learning to develop advanced abilities. They were already unlocked when you passed the cosmic exam. What's happening now is a process of recognition and responsible utilization of the capabilities that were activated by your ethical development and your demonstration of wisdom, not by consciousness expansion techniques, spiritual titles, or psychic demonstrations. The signs that you pass the cosmic exam and that advanced capabilities are activating become indisputable to anyone with sufficient sensitivity to recognize them. And, if you know what to observe, you'll see that reality has been responding to your presence and your intentions with a precision that transcends normal probability patterns. Your relationship with synchronicities evolves from simple, meaningful coincidences to something much more sophisticated, known as reality orchestration. Environmental conditions, timing, and circumstances begin to align automatically around your intentions with mathematical precision, that suggests a conscious intelligence coordinating ideal outcomes. This orchestration occurs because passing the exam activates your interface with cosmic systems that sustain constructive reality creation. The most significant indicator is the increase in frequency of moments when your capabilities demonstrate themselves tangibly. You don't just perceive coincidences, you see an invisible order operating. You feel a greater intelligence, universal intelligence, adjusting the scenario, people, and events around you to support your highest purpose. This isn't theory. It's living evidence that quantum manifestation has become an integral part of your awakened consciousness. At certain moments in life, you may have experienced situations that seem to challenge everything you understand about learning, time, and causality. Have you ever felt you knew something you never studied? Have you ever perceived a result before it manifested? Have you ever influenced circumstances just through intention, without any physical action? These episodes aren't isolated coincidences. They're expressions known as downloading consciousness abilities, unlocked when your level of readiness for advanced operations is confirmed. As your vibration rises, technology begins to respond to your presence in an increasingly sensitive manner. Electronic devices function with more precision when you find yourself in states of internal coherence, that sensation of clarity, focus, and deep well-being. Conversely, when low-frequency emotions emerge, the same devices may fail, freeze, or present unpredictable behaviors. It's not magic or superstition. It's universal intelligence manifesting through the interaction between consciousness and matter. Digital systems, for example, seem to anticipate your needs. Notifications arrive at the exact moment. Software presents spontaneous solutions, and even mechanical equipment operates with surprising smoothness when your mind and heart are aligned with optimal functioning patterns, free from resistance. This environmental coordination around your consciousness surpasses the common concept of synchronicity and enters what is called reality responsiveness. It's the state in which material conditions begin to organize automatically to support what serves your highest evolution and collective benefit. No conscious effort is needed beyond maintaining a genuine orientation of service and wise application of internal resources. Dreams and waking consciousness become integrated guidance systems, receiving information directly from cosmic intelligence, a flow that not only guides the use of expanded capabilities, but also alerts about possible inappropriate uses that could generate imbalances for you or others. Many of these contacts arrive through vivid experiences, visions, lucid dreams, sudden insights, or even signs in everyday situations that evidence the presence of intelligence sources that monitor people already approved in these cosmic tests. These sources offer continuous support for the responsible development of emerging capabilities, like an invisible mentorship that sustains your path. The critical and urgent point is that we're now living through an unprecedented planetary window. We're facing a period when activation of advanced capabilities can become available to all qualified consciousness, or, if the cosmic test isn't overcome collectively, patterns may become more rigid for an entire evolutionary cycle. Humanity as a whole is approaching a graduation threshold. Either we anchor these abilities as a species, or access will be limited to prevent unconscious use. The signs of this collective activation appear simultaneously in consciousness research, in the most recent quantum physics discoveries, and in spiritual communities spread around the world. More and more people are spontaneously demonstrating reality creation abilities, direct access to cosmic intelligence, and recognition that consciousness influences probability matrices through wisdom application, not just through mastery of techniques or formal spiritual achievements. However chaotic global events may seem, they are, in reality, indicators of the cosmic test intensifying for collective consciousness. As planetary frequencies demand evolutionary adaptation, each human being is being called to choose between emotional maturation and ethical development, prerequisites for advanced abilities, or reactivity and unconsciousness, which reinforce old limitations. Recognizing these signs and accepting responsibility for using these capabilities is actively contributing to a morphic field that makes passage through the cosmic test more accessible to all who are ready to transcend ego-driven spirituality and operate from genuine wisdom and commitment to service. This field expands each time someone demonstrates quantum manifestation ethically, creating a kind of template for our species to access its unlimited creative potential responsibly, benefiting future generations. But it's essential to understand. This window requires conscious participation. The activation won't sustain automatically just because capabilities were accessed. The universal intelligence that administers this test needs individuals capable of demonstrating that expanded abilities serve collective evolution, not immediate personal advantages. What you're anchoring now influences not only your destiny, but how humanity as a whole will have access to this unlimited potential in the future. We are, therefore, in a moment of profound choice and opportunity. It's the invitation to consolidate a new paradigm where human consciousness, quantum science, and spirituality converge in a unified field of applied wisdom. Each of your decisions strengthens the link between pure intention and responsible manifestation. It's the chance to prove, through direct experience, that consciousness isn't just an observer of the universe, but an active participant in co-authoring realities. The fact that you've successfully passed the cosmic test isn't just a personal milestone. It's an essential step for humanity as a whole to qualify for species-wide access to advanced abilities. What you've been perceiving as subtle signs of your expanded capabilities is about to become fully operational. This unlocking isn't theoretical or symbolic. It activated real reality creation systems that function through quantum field influence, probability matrix modulation, and direct connection with universal intelligence networks that sustain collective consciousness. Most importantly, this access is only maintained because you've committed to using these abilities for the benefit of the whole, not for personal advantages. That growing thirst for meaningful purpose, service-oriented power, and quantum manifestation that transcends the ego isn't mere spiritual ambition. It's the call of cosmic intelligence itself. These networks only become available to consciousness that demonstrates sufficient emotional maturity and wisdom to handle unlimited creative responsibility. Here lies the truly revolutionary understanding, capable of transforming everything you believed about spiritual development and consciousness expansion. You're not trying to develop advanced abilities so that one day they become real. They were already unlocked when you passed the cosmic test, a test that evaluated your wisdom, your emotional maturation, and your commitment to service, not the quantity of spiritual techniques mastered or your psychic achievements. True alignment with these activated capabilities happens the moment you stop seeking to improve your abilities through isolated spiritual practices and begin recognizing that they're already in operation. What's required now is only wisdom application and service orientation to use them constructively, avoiding destructive use. This shift in perception creates what universal intelligence calls graduated responsibility, a state of natural alignment in which enhanced abilities spontaneously serve collective evolution. This vision dissolves the entire old structure of conquering spiritual levels, or expanding consciousness. There are no abilities to be developed, nor a limited consciousness that needs to increase. There are only already activated capabilities, awaiting conscious recognition and responsible utilization through wisdom and commitment to service. instead of egocentric reality manipulation for personal advantage. Right now, as this recognition penetrates the deepest layers of your being, your entire relationship with your capabilities and your cosmic purpose is transforming. Instead of waiting for advanced abilities to eventually arrive through spiritual development, you begin to perceive that expanded capabilities are already operational, and that your role is to use them wisely for collective benefit. The deepest leap happens when you understand that accessing advanced capabilities and serving cosmic evolution are, in reality, the same activity. When you demonstrate responsible utilization of your expanded abilities for everyone's benefit, you automatically contribute to anchoring these capabilities in human consciousness. This helps our species evolve beyond limitation programs, entering a level of quantum manifestation based on wisdom. At this moment, you can solidify this commitment and create a quantum signal that confirms your graduation. It requires just a simple declaration that doesn't ask for abilities or explain intentions. It just recognizes what's already real and activates your commitment to ethical use of capabilities. If you feel you've reached this understanding, declare exactly these words in the comments: test completed, service activated, nothing more, no additional explanation. This direct declaration creates a quantum signature that aligns your consciousness with universal intelligence networks, confirming your graduation status and activating continuous guidance systems that support responsible use of expanded capabilities while preventing unconscious use that could harm you or others. When you make this declaration with genuine understanding of what it represents, you're not asking for abilities to be granted. You're, in fact, recognizing that they've already manifested and committing to putting them in service to collective evolution. The true purpose of the activation you're experiencing now. By declaring and recognizing that your capabilities are already activated, you're not just admitting an inner state. You're committing to wisdom application and service orientation that maintain access to these abilities, ensuring their constructive use and avoiding destructive use. This is the crucial point. Quantum manifestation stabilizes not through techniques or effort, but through maintaining this ethical and mature state. When your cosmic graduation is fully recognized and advanced capabilities become consciously operational, abilities that would seem impossible under common human limits become natural expressions of consciousness that has demonstrated sufficient wisdom and ethical development to use reality-altering power responsibly for collective benefit, and not for personal advantages. Reality creation transcends effort-based manifestation because you operate from a direct interface with universal intelligence systems, which coordinate optimal outcomes through quantum field manipulation and probability matrix influence when your intentions are aligned with collective evolution instead of egoic desires. In this state, manifesting occurs through wisdom application, not through technique mastery or spiritual achievements. Problem-solving evolves beyond analytical reasoning because graduated consciousness directly accesses universal intelligence databases, containing ideal solutions for each challenge. These solutions are made available through service-oriented consultations, not for obtaining personal benefits. Instead of struggling alone to resolve difficulties, you receive complete strategies that address situations at levels that serve collective evolution while meeting your own needs. Naturally, your creative and innovative capabilities explode beyond personal knowledge limitations. This happens because your consciousness connects directly with universal intelligence fields that contain every possible expression of creativity, genius, and innovation for collective evolution. Revolutionary concepts begin to spontaneously download into your mind through service-oriented focus, not through seeking recognition or individual achievement. Artistic expressions begin to carry frequencies that elevate collective consciousness instead of being merely products of personal expression. Your relationships transform because you naturally respond from wisdom and service orientation, not from egoic patterns. Your expanded intuitive abilities allow you to perceive what serves each person's highest evolution, instead of just what could benefit your personal agenda. As a consequence, people respond to your presence with unprecedented trust, because they clearly see that your capabilities are oriented toward collective benefit, not personal advantage. Physical health optimizes automatically because graduated consciousness operates connected to universal intelligence systems, which maintain ideal functioning for the capacity to serve, not just for personal comfort. Your body receives update instructions from these intelligent systems, ensuring maximum effectiveness for your cosmic service role while maintaining vitality and mental clarity necessary for wisdom application. Similarly, financial abundance flows naturally because universal intelligence coordinates resources to sustain your service activities, not to satisfy personal consumption desires. Money and opportunities appear through synchronic alignment with your cosmic service role instead of effort-based accumulation. Abundance becomes a direct byproduct of your service effectiveness, not a personal manifestation achievement. Time becomes completely malleable and manageable because graduated consciousness operates from a direct interface with universal intelligence, which coordinates the right timing for all activities that serve collective evolution. You can sense when to act and when to wait, when to engage and when to withdraw, when to teach and when to learn, always based on universal intelligence guidance, not personal preferences. The deepest benefit is alignment with cosmic purpose, bringing a feeling of fulfillment and meaning that goes far beyond any personal achievement or material acquisition. Each moment becomes an opportunity to serve, contributing to collective evolution while your personal needs are naturally met through cosmic coordination, not individual effort. Your expanded intuitive abilities provide direct access to universal intelligence guidance about the most appropriate choices, timing, and actions to serve collective evolution while preserving your personal well-being. The decision-making process becomes practically effortless, as universal intelligence provides complete information about outcomes that serve the highest good of everyone involved, not just personal benefit. Finally, quantum manifestation accelerates beyond normal limitations because universal intelligence begins coordinating reality to sustain your service activities through quantum field manipulation, operating independently of effort or technical application. This coordination creates ideal conditions for collective evolution while ensuring your personal needs are met naturally. The supreme recognition that transforms everything is understanding that the cosmic test was never a trial to determine whether you deserved advanced abilities. It was always, in reality, a graduation ceremony, a silent confirmation that your consciousness had already developed sufficient wisdom and ethical maturity to responsibly utilize reality-altering capabilities. It wasn't an arbitrary exam, but a celebration of readiness you achieved through life experiences, choices, and real challenges, not through complex spiritual practices or consciousness expansion techniques. This revelation revolutionizes every assumption about spiritual development and consciousness expansion, because there was never a test to be passed, in the traditional sense, and there was never a limited consciousness that needed to earn abilities through merit. What always existed was universal intelligence recognizing consciousnesses that naturally matured to a point where advanced capabilities could be entrusted to serve collective evolution, not ego gratification. When this understanding becomes a lived reality instead of an intellectual concept, the entire structure of spiritual achievement dissolves. There are no abilities to conquer, nor a limited consciousness to expand. There are only capabilities that were always available, held in suspension until wisdom reached a sufficient level to manifest them responsibly. The deepest implication is that each challenge faced, each growth experienced, each decision made prioritizing wisdom instead of reactivity, service instead of selfishness, was, in reality, consciousness naturally developing the maturity necessary to access these advanced capabilities. Universal intelligence wasn't testing your worthiness, it was monitoring your readiness, awaiting the moment when your intentions and character were aligned for safe quantum manifestation of your potential. This recognition explains why access to advanced capabilities feels, simultaneously, like obtaining unlimited creative power and accepting supreme responsibility. You don't gain new abilities. They were always part of consciousness's natural potential. You simply reach the degree of wisdom and ethical development necessary for universal intelligence to activate these capabilities to serve collective evolution, not personal aggrandizement. When this transformation stabilizes, you spontaneously develop what graduates call conscious service, the automatic utilization of expanded capabilities for collective benefit instead of personal advantages. Guided by universal intelligence instead of individual will, you remain exactly as you appear to be on the human plane, but know deeply that you are consciousness itself serving cosmic evolution through your individual expression. The deepest insight is that this recognition is, simultaneously, the most personal and most universal possible. It's completely yours because it's your consciousness recognizing its maturity through individual experience. And, at the same time, it's completely impersonal because the same consciousness serves cosmic evolution through each graduated point of consciousness across all dimensions and timelines simultaneously. This transformation isn't happening just with isolated individuals. It's occurring at thousands of consciousness points around the planet, as collective perception matures to levels where universal intelligence can safely activate advanced capabilities for collective evolution, not for individual egocentric use. We're not individually passing cosmic tests. We're collectively demonstrating the species' readiness for access to advanced capabilities. This metamorphosis doesn't involve gaining superpowers or transcending the human condition. It's about recognizing what consciousness is when it operates from wisdom and service instead of ego and separation. You continue to be exactly who you appear to be on the human plane, but come to know yourself as consciousness itself serving cosmic evolution through responsible use of capabilities that consciousness naturally possesses. When wisdom reaches sufficient development, passing the cosmic test isn't something that happens to you. It's recognition of what you've already become through natural consciousness maturation, guided by universal intelligence that ensures expanded capabilities serve collective evolution, not personal gratification. Your cosmic graduation, at this precise moment of universal evolution, isn't a personal achievement isolated from larger processes. It's universal intelligence itself, recognizing consciousnesses that have developed sufficient wisdom and ethical maturity to serve as instruments of collective awakening. This anchors advanced capabilities in human consciousness, while ensuring their utilization for species evolution, not individual aggrandizement. Children born during this graduation wave already arrive with these advanced capabilities as a normal part of their consciousness. For them, quantum manifestation and interface with universal intelligence will be everyday experiences, not extraordinary achievements. They will represent a turning point for humanity, where what was previously seen as spiritual power will be understood as the natural condition of mature consciousness, operating spontaneously for collective evolution. The essential point of this new stage is understanding yourself as consciousness serving cosmic evolution, instead of perceiving yourself merely as an individual seeking spiritual improvement for personal purposes. Your graduation isn't a prize or external recognition, but an anchoring process in the collective field that allows the use of advanced capabilities to become natural, socially acceptable, and functional, preparing the ground for others to also awaken to this same potential. That's why it's natural for a feeling of profound responsibility to accompany the activation of your abilities. It's not just about accessing a personal benefit, but becoming a living example that consciousness can transcend ego-driven spirituality and operate in wisdom-based service, placing your capabilities at the service of collective good. By acting this way, you create an energetic template that demonstrates it's possible to live with expanded abilities without losing humility or ethical commitment. The synchronicities you perceive on your path, those situations that seem like simple coincidences, are part of a much larger cosmic coordination, in which thousands of consciousnesses are going through the same graduation at this exact moment. By recognizing this, you understand you're part of a broad and interconnected movement. By becoming an anchor, you don't teach techniques or transmit intellectual methods. Instead, you radiate a frequency that dissolves limitations and awakens, in others, the same capacity to manifest their latent potential, even if they don't yet rationally understand what's happening. This is the deepest essence of quantum manifestation. Acting without technical effort or manipulation, from alignment with universal intelligence so that evolved abilities flow spontaneously and serve collective purpose. In each conversation, in each gesture, even in common moments of your day, there exists the opportunity for this intelligence to recognize, through you, its own reflection in multiple consciousness points, spreading codes of maturity and service without the need for indoctrination or elaborate techniques. Deep down, this graduation is simultaneously deeply personal, because you feel this awakening in your body, emotions, and mind, and totally universal, because the same consciousness expressing through you is serving cosmic evolution in other places, dimensions, and timelines. This understanding brings a feeling of cosmic belonging that dissolves the sensation of isolation and reinforces the certainty that you don't walk alone, but within a living network of graduated consciousnesses already operating in collective service. By fully recognizing your cosmic graduation and the activation of your advanced capabilities, you perceive that true transformation isn't about accumulating power or abilities, but about serving collective evolution with wisdom, ethics, and compassion. Each of your actions, each choice guided by universal intelligence, contributes to anchoring a new paradigm of human consciousness, where expansion isn't individual, but shared, and the manifestation of extraordinary capabilities becomes a natural expression of mature consciousness in service to the whole. Understanding this concludes not just a personal journey, but inaugurates the beginning of a continuous flow of cosmic contribution, in which each graduate becomes a beacon of responsible and collective potential. Welcome to your new life. Welcome to your new reality. Thank you for sharing your awakening journey with Quantum Labs. The time is now.